This is future reporter Kamila interviewing professional reporter Erin Cargile. What was this your first choice as a career?
Yes, it was, but I didn't know until I got into college what I wanted to do. So I really had no idea, and then I got into college and decided this was it.
Okay. What led you to be a reporter?
So like I said, I was like you in school, and then went on to high school, and then went to college. It was undecided, and as far as what my career path was going to be. And then when I got to college, all the what they call undecided majors, if you don't know what type of classes you want to take, they all went into the communications department. And in the communications department, there was what's called broadcast journalism. And so I got plugged into that program and started, doing work and working with this on-campus newscast broadcast, and I really, really enjoyed it a lot. So I realized it wasn't just like your face being on TV, but it was about, meeting people and gathering stories and writing the stories and delivering the stories, and so that part really got me excited.
If I want to do this, what do you recommend?
I recommend, obviously, staying in school, and are you a fifth grader?
Mm-hmm.
Right now? So I would say, even as a fifth grader, you could be practicing your storytelling skills. So unlike me, I had no idea when I was a fifth grader what I wanted to do, but I was writing stories. We had to put books together, and I knew that I enjoyed that. And it's very, very similar to doing that. It's just you're telling your stories, to a camera once you write and put them all together. So even now, you could be telling stories about some of the neat things that are going on your own campus. Maybe interviewing your friends, meaning doing what you're doing with me. You come up with a list of questions and you ask them those questions, and then you take the answers and you put a story together with the information that you gathered. So you could start right now, putting stories together, and even like if you have a cell phone or your parents have a phone, like you can practice, being on air, so to speak, with doing your own stories right now. That's what I would suggest. As a reporter, we were doing a lot of different things kind of rolled into one. So some people may leave broadcast journalism or leave reporting and go on to be what you call a public relations person, so if there's a big company somewhere, and they may get calls from people, people like me who work in the media and want someone with their company to go on camera. Those people may coordinate those interviews. I cover education a lot, so I deal with a lot of school districts. And there's a point person that I have to go through to do a story, and so I could go on and maybe become that person for that school district, where I would also pitch story ideas to reporters. So as a reporter, I know what news stations are looking for, so I would help a company pitch story ideas as well. But there's a lot of different things that you can do with our skill set. We have a lot of people skills, communication skills, storytelling. So it can really translate into a lot of other jobs. People with a broadcast journalism degree often go on to do a lot of different things.
Where did you first start?
So I first started started kind of in college, where I mentioned that we had an on-campus newscast that we would broadcast live on campus. So once I graduated and really got practice there, I graduated from college, and my very first job was in Sherman, Texas. Have you heard of Sherman? It's okay. It's actually just north of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, kind of on the Texas-Oklahoma border. So it's a pretty small station. So when you're first starting out as a reporter, normally you start at what we call a smaller market or a smaller station, which is in a small town, and then you get your experience there as a kind of a fresh reporter, so to speak, and then you get your experience and more practice, and then you work your way up to a bigger station after that.
What are some pros and cons of your job?
pros and cons. So some of the pros would be, I mean, every day is different. So I go into work this afternoon and work the evening shift, and I have no idea what I'm going to be covering today. So some people that may be a little bit scary, but it's also exciting because every day is different. So you never know who you might meet or what you might be covering that day. So that's exciting. One of the negatives is you're really reliant upon other people. So when you go out, like when you have to ask, find someone to interview and ask questions, sometimes people they don't want to talk to you. It kind of depends on the subject matter. So you might get a lot of kind of rejection, you might say, and so you really have to keep trying. So you can't get discouraged if you have this great idea in your head and how your story's going to look, and then you can't find anyone to interview, and the clock is ticking and your story's airing that night, and you're in a like a sticky situation. So that can be the downside, and we do have to cover a lot of negative and sad things sometimes. We do a lot of positive stories. We also cover a lot of negative things, and just sad situations like what's maybe going on in Paris, if you're following that right now. So sometimes you have to show up and you have to try to talk to people who are going through a lot of grief, and maybe they just lost somebody in their life, and that's really difficult to have to be that person to go knock on their door. So that can be a hard day as well.
Famous people. Sure.
Have you interviewed any famous people?
I'm trying to think. I have. Who have I interviewed? I also have the worst memory in the world. I have covered, so President Obama, even before he became president, when he was campaigning, I covered some of his campaign events, and so, he...
Thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
You are so welcome. It was great to meet you, and good luck. I hope if you stick with this, and you may decide something else fits you better, but if you do, I'd love to follow you, so keep me posted.
All right. I'm going to say bye too.